Alright, what's up, guys? It's Elliot here.
And Sherania!
And we are here to review. Can you stop that, please?
Now!
We are here to review Rogue One, a Star Wars story for you guys. Now, the first part of this review will be spoiler free for those of you that want to watch, that don't want the movie spoiled if you haven't seen it yet. Now, I say about halfway through we go to spoilers, that way it's about evened out. I can't tell you when exactly it'll be, but once I figure it out, I'll put a thing like right about here in the middle of the screen here, so that you guys can see, or when the spoilers are about to start.
Or you might say it.
Or yeah. Um. So first off, overall thoughts on the movie.
Honestly, it was enjoyable. I wouldn't say it was better than Force Awakens.
Neither would I, honestly. It wasn't. It was good. Don't get us wrong. It was good. It just wasn't better than Force Awakens, at least in our opinion. Formulate your own opinions based on what you think. Don't let our opinions affect how you think. Remember, these reviews are just our opinions. They don't necessarily affect. They don't necessarily reflect the opinions of the Warhawks as a whole. They're just our personal opinions. And keep in mind when I say spoiler free, aside from the obvious, we all know the Death Star plans are going to end up in the hands of the rebels, and yes, you see a kitty,
Kind of see a kitty.
but you don't know exactly how or who survived, which we will get to later. Um, Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso. Thoughts?
Honestly, I think she played the role really well for what she had. And she made the character memorable.
Honestly, yeah, she really made the. I liked the way she was just this snarky kind of. She kind of reminded me of Anakin, honestly. She kind of reminded me of Anakin. The whole snarky, not necessarily a good guy, but not necessarily a bad guy either, kind of
She wasn't necessarily an
person.
anti-hero,
But
but she basically was dealing with a lousy deck of cards, honestly,
honestly,
from him.
which we'll get to later.
Yeah,
Don't
don't worry,
worry.
we'll get to that.
Um, let's
She
see.
could have done. That's the thing. That character could have came off as about annoying as people thought Anakin was.
The original, well, the older Anakin was kind of annoying too, but
A
I am,
lot of people didn't like Anakin in his teenage years because he
yeah,
was just majorly angsty,
yeah, just a little.
and it's kind of one of those this role could have gone that way as well, honestly. But she
Honestly,
did a good job in trying to stay away from that.
Diego Luna as Cassian Andor. The okay. Oh wait, yeah, you know who Cassian is.
Mhm. Um, he rubbed me the wrong way at first, but he did kind of grow into the part. That's what it felt like to me. Like, the first part of the movie was him getting used to the role in general, but that might also be what was called for this character.
I like his speech at the towards the end of the movie, though, which again, no spoilers, but basically, it was his way of saying, okay, just because the rebellion doesn't agree with you doesn't mean that everyone else does. Let's do this. Which what we're talking about we'll get into in a little bit. Don't worry. Alan Tudyk as K2SO, which for those of you that don't know at home is the big ass droid This will be interesting.
Okay, he's done motion capture for robots in the past. You know, if you thought his, if you've seen the movie and you think his movements are very similar, that's because he is literally.
Sonny from iRobot.
I couldn't think of his name. Yes, but Sonny. I love this character. I fell in love with this character. I swear, he reminded me of the
3PO?
no. He reminded me of the assassin droid in
HK-47.
Yeah, he reminded me of that android. That was my thought. Is he seemed to have a personality very similar to that? It's just he was a little bit less condescending about it.
I agree, honestly. Um, yeah, to me, he kind of reminded me. He kind of reminded me of a mixture of C-3PO and HK-47. Honestly, it was a nice little middle ground because he was snarky and kind of blood craving, but also helpful at times, and he wasn't a complete jackass about it, which was really a good change for the series.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't remember their names. I know one is Jiang Wen or something like that for Baze, and Donnie Yen for Chirrut Imwe.
I loved the chemistry these two had, and I have heard a lot of theories about why they have that chemistry.
Now, since it's not spoilers, let's just go ahead and get into that. There's a theory that the reason that Chirrut and Baze are so close is because they are actually gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We will never, as we've said before, we do not condemn anyone for being gay, by what have you.
You can't help you love. Plain
Yeah,
and simple.
exactly,
You can't help how your dick goes up
exactly,
or your pussy gets wet. But hey,
exactly. We don't care, honestly. We'll accept you for who you are. That's just how we are. We're cool people like that. And I'm sorry I interrupted your thoughts. Continue.
to be fair, and it is proof that you don't have to be a Jedi for the Force to help you.
Exactly.
That is more or less the basis of these two characters.
Very true.
In all honesty, they represent faith. Whereas Jen,
Jin and Cassian kind of.
Jen
At first, Jin was.
represents hope.
Yeah, Jin represents hope, whereas Chirrut and Baze represent faith. And before you say anything, guys, no, hope and faith are not the same thing.
Mm-mm.
There would be some people that would argue that, but no, they are two different things. Do you have to have hope to have faith? No. Do you have to have faith to have hope? No. You can have both and not, or have one and not the other. There is a difference. Were you finished?
Yeah, more or less. If I think of something else, I'll pipe up probably a little later about it.
Okay, and finally,
You didn't say what you thought of them.
oh, I thought that it was really cool that that Chirrut was blind, because originally he was not going to be, and as far as I know, Donnie Yen is not blind. It was actually his idea.
Which again brings into the whole faith thing,
Yeah.
as well as again the whole being able to use the Force without being a Jedi, which is what this guy is able to do. It's very kind. It reminded me a little bit of Kenshin.
Oh, Kenshi from Mortal
Kenshi.
Kombat.
Yeah, because he literally kind of does the same thing.
More or less, yeah. We will get into a perfect example of what she is talking about with Chirrut in a little bit. Again, we're avoiding spoilers for the moment. Let's see.
It's just kind of one of those. It's a way that he was able to adapt despite being blind.
Exactly. And finally, I forget the dude's name, but he plays help me out here, what's the guy's name?
Uh,
Bodie Rook, there we go.
there you go.
Actually, I think Diego Luna played Bodie Rook and somebody else played Cassie. I don't remember for certain. If I'm wrong and you know, correct me in the comments. I don't mind. I don't mind being corrected, honestly.
It's kind of one of those. We don't have a thing up telling us all the roles.
Yeah,
We're just trying to remember off the top of our head, and it's been about 2 days now since we've seen it.
honestly, yeah. But your thoughts?
That's not the general, is it?
No, that's the pilot. The pilot of the ship, the one that defects from the Empire.
Oh, that guy!
Yeah.
That guy, okay. My brain completely. Well, I didn't completely forget about this character.
You just.
It's just. I forgot what he was called.
Yeah, that guy.
It's not that he's not a memorable character.
Oh no, he's definitely a memorable character.
It's just that he just kind of gets shuffled around in the beginning. You know, he's one place, he's another place. I don't like how they explain how they extract information. I can't go into it without going into spoilers. So, but that is a major part of his role, is that that I've tried to figure out. But that being said, it might be a will thing. To be fair, though, he did what he could with what he was given.
Which was a lot, and it was really good.
It's just, again, what his name was, I don't remember.
Bodie, which one?
I won't remember his name. I'll remember his role. That's the thing.
The guy played by Lawrence Fishburne.
That's what I mean. It's just he has a role, but I just never remember anyone really calling him by his name. They usually called him as the pilot for most of the movie.
Oh, you're talking about Bodie.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
They literally just call him the pilot for most of the movie until a certain thing happens.
Yeah, and it's like.
And it's just like, you don't remember him as that. You remember him as the pilot. And that's what kind of threw me off a little bit. And I didn't like it. Because, again, he was just shuffled around at first.
Yeah, honestly.
And so it didn't make his impact in the beginning of the movie very much, but he does play a major role later.
And so now that we've gotten the main cast out of the way, we can't really get into any of the other characters without spoilers. So, fair warning, I'm going to put something up right about now. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. 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 I don't know how long I'm having it up.
I'm just going to have it like right as I put my from like there to like right as I put my hand down, and that's about it.
Okay.
So Mads Mikkelsen as Jen's father, Galen.
Which we kind of see that from the beginning of the movie, so really, it's not really spoilers per se.
Well, no, but what happens to him is.
Yes. Honestly, for what little we do see of him, it is fantastic.
He does a really good job because for once, he's not playing a bad guy. Mads Mikkelsen plays an excellent bad guy. He played Caecilius in Doctor Strange, for those of you that don't know, and he did a really good job, in my personal opinion, but that's just me.
And so seeing him as a good guy,
it feels kind of weird.
It does.
Honestly.
That's the thing, though, is that the lines that he gives in the beginning It should give you a hint of what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah, and it's like, sorry guys. Now, so again, this is the spoiler part uh, of the video. So we're just gonna get into it. You guys know the exhaust port that is always made fun of for the Death Star. Okay, can you lean forward a little?
Like, kind of. That's the thing. I have to lean forward like this. I can't lean forward like that.
Well,
Not gonna happen, babe.
well, scoot in or something. There. Um, the exhaust port was actually made by Jin's father so that the rebels could destroy it. And but he actually is the one that leaked that where the rebels could find the Death Star plans, told them how to get there, whatnot. And after being reunited with his daughter after what, 13 years, something like that.
I don't think I was 13.
It was something like that. He is killed not by the Empire, by the rebels. The rebels are not the 100% good guys that they were in the other.
Well, they also didn't realize what was going on.
Well, no. And then she gets to where the rebels are, and they don't believe her. It's like, well, if you hadn't killed the only person that could have possibly told you that she was telling the truth, you wouldn't have been able to believe her now, wouldn't you? And yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what happens to Galen in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember who plays her because I don't remember seeing her name anywhere. The person who plays Lyra Urso, Jin's mother.
Again, she goes back to try to save him.
After he had just told Krennic that she died.
Gotta love stories like that.
Yes.
But for what little screen time she had, she plays an emotional wife and protective mother very well.
She does. She manages to shoot. Sorry.
She's not there for very long, but she does make an impact.
She manages to shoot Krennic in the shoulder at the beginning of the movie, but gets killed. Surprisingly enough, by getting shot in the exact same place.
Yeah.
I am not even kidding.
Yeah, don't even ask. Don't even ask.
Don't know. But
Anyway.
yeah, that is literally the full extent of Jin's mother in the movie. Just there to die at the beginning.
Yep. Emotional crutch.
Lawrence Fishburne as Saul Guerrera, who is actually a character from the Clone Wars TV show and the Rebels TV show.
The
guy that kidnaps Bodhi and sicks the monster
on him. Okay, that guy. Well, honestly, he gave a brilliant performance.
As is to be expected with him, honestly.
The character itself is complicated. It's a very troubled backstory from what you can see, and it is pulled off very well. He's a very memorable character again, especially if you actually saw the series and the movie.
Yeah, and it's like at this point he kind of reminds me of Darth Vader. He's got mechanical legs. He has a breathing thing, and it's like he kind of reminds me of Anakin, honestly. Post Mustafar, which we'll get into in a minute. Let's see. Ben Mendelsohn as director Krennic.
Oh, let's see, and he is
The guy in the white uniform that shows up at the beginning with the Death Troopers.
uh, let's see. I'm just trying because there are two people I'm remembering. They both give fantastic performances. And if it's the one, I think it is. It's the one that ended up with the pun from Vader.
Yes, that was
Okay.
him.
Okay. So he makes a fantastic bad guy.
He does. I really like this character. I'm going to get into that in a second. Go ahead.
He is manipulative, but he also gets manipulated so much.
He's the butt monkey of the film, honestly.
But he doesn't necessarily take that lying down, at least not
From anybody besides
completely.
Vader.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Does he escape?
No.
No, I don't think he did. Which is kind of a shame because I would have loved to have seen him in the other movies.
Honestly, yeah.
But again, this movie literally is made to kill everyone off.
Yes, literally. Everyone introduced in this movie that was not in the original trilogy dies by the end. Spoiler alert.
We're
Just
already
saying.
in spoiler. But the reason why is because, again,
They weren't in the original trilogy.
Exactly, because they would have shown up at one point.
At least at some point. Uh,
Next person.
Actually, no, let's just get into the story.
Okay.
Alright, so the story starts off, it literally has no opening text scroll, nothing. The story starts off with Director Krennic visiting wherever the hell the Urso family is and taking Galen off to work on the Death Star, killing his wife, and Jin is just kind of hiding, and she's discovered by Saw, and he helps her, survive, and eventually she makes it off the planet, and
Next time we see her or anyone else, she is literally on a prison barge kind of thing.
yep, and she literally is just she is literally rescued by the rebels and then tries to escape automatically, only to be met by K2SO.
Basically, kind of got bitch slapped by him and be like, "We're here to rescue. Stop resisting," or more or
More
less.
or less, really. So they bring her to Yavin 4, which is the planet that was the base of operations for the rebels in A New Hope, and they tell her that they have a mission for her because
They need her to
need,
see if she had been in contact with her father.
and then they wanted to find out what she could from her father about the Death Star, which they didn't know that's what it was called at the time, but
They had heard rumors about a planet destroying ship. More
that's literally the extent of their knowledge at the beginning.
Of which at this point they had a pilot go rogue.
The Empire did.
Had a pilot go rogue and trying to get in contact with the rebels
through Saw Gerrera, who turned out to be an extremist. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No problem. And so that's all we hear about this for a little while.
So then we get to basically she takes the ship to Jedha, which is an imperial controlled planet, but has connections to the Jedi.
AKA, it's literally their Jerusalem.
Which is what, hence the name Jedha. So the Empire is mining kyber crystals, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with Star Wars lore, is what gives the Jedi and Sith lightsabers power.
Which is interesting because it was never mentioned before as to what the fuel source was for the weapon of the Death Star. And apparently it is these crystals.
Yes, this is what they use to power the Death Star. Where she meets Chirrut and Baze, they rescue Bodhi from Saw. Saw plays her sorry, go ahead.
No, keep on.
Saw plays her a hologram from her father, explaining everything that's going on. and tells her that he's the one that put the ventilation shaft there so that they could destroy it, and tells her to go to get the plans from a city called Scarif.
Now, how they got this hologram was from the pilot
The pilot
that had gone rogue, basically, and he was sent by her father to deliver this message.
to Saw Gerrera, thinking he was gonna give it to the rebels.
Now, Saw Gerrera didn't really believe him because he never even saw the message himself. He just knew he had this hologram on. So he actually extracts information from him with this weird
Some
slug
kind of
creature
monster, yeah.
that he said it makes sure you're telling the truth, but it may cause you to go insane.
Yes.
Here's the interesting thing. He doesn't go insane.
So I think so we're thinking it's some kind of willed thing that prevents him from going insane.
Hence why I said that earlier. Or it might have actually been the Force preventing him from going insane because he had a bigger
Roll.
role.
So anyway, they go to the planet where, or no, they're getting ready to leave, or no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting
Yes,
ahead of
you are.
myself. While the hologram is playing, telling Jin the message, the Death Star appears over Jeddah. Krennic orders the Death Star to fire on the holy city, which is Jeddah City,
To make an
to
example
make an
of it,
example of it, so in the hopes of
and to actually show
quelling the
what,
rebellion.
as well as to show what the Death Star was capable of. Because they had not even had a test fire yet at this point.
Yeah, so they order it at low power to fire at the planet.
Which honestly is a major, screw you to the Jedi. Because one, it's their holy land, and two, they're using their own crystals to destroy it.
Yes. So Chirrut, Baze, uh,
Bodhi.
Bodhi, Cassian, and Jin are all in the layer of Saw, and Cassian sees or hear or no, K2SO sees what the hell is going on and is like, guys, we have a problem on the horizon. There
There is
is
no
no
horizon.
horizon. And he's like, shit, get over here and get us now. So K2SO flies them over and flies the ship over, gets all of them. Saw chooses to stay behind and dies in the ensuing
That's the thing. He didn't
destruction.
have much left. He
Anyway,
was basically almost all electronic. He was living off of an oxygen tank, basically. At that point,
so
he
yeah,
wanted to kind of, not kind of go out in a blaze of glory kind of thing.
yeah, kind of,
You know, he didn't want to slow them down. He knew he was going to slow them down if he did.
yeah. So they take off and make it out of Jeddah just in time, obviously, and they're in hyperspace. And Cassian talks to the rebel leaders. He had been told before they left Yavin to kill Jin's father. Just heads up. And he tells them what happened, and they say, "Okay, your orders still stand. Kill him when you get the chance." Now remember this. They get to the planet where her father is being held. I don't remember the name of the planet. And Cassian takes off by himself
With Bowden.
with, huh?
He,
No.
no, he does go with Bowden to show him where the actual platform
Oh
was.
yeah, that's right.
And then sends him back to the ship.
And Chirrut mentions, keep in mind, Chirrut is blind. He can't see jack shit. And he's like, does he look like a killer to you? And they're like, no, why? He goes, the dark side is strong around those who are about to kill. That's all Jin needed to hear. She takes off by herself, and or no, Bodhi goes after Cassian, and Jin goes after them. Then Chirrut and Blaze leave. Chirrut and Baze leave for I forget what reason.
More about a help.
Yeah, and so of course, leaving K2SO on the ship
Again.
again. And now, remember what I said about remembering that they said when you get the chance, kill her father. He has a clear shot several times during the course of this whole scene. He can't do it.
Now, the scene that he's talking about is he has.
Krennic has Jin's father, Galen, and all of his scientists up on the platform because he was informed of the leak of the Death Star plans and whatnot, and so he's like, one of you is a traitor. Um, I'm going to kill whoever it is. None of them say anything, so he's like, okay, I'll just kill all of you. At which point Galen steps in and he's like, no, it was me, and Krennic's like, okay, come here, fire, and they kill all of his scientist people, and then he bitch slaps him to the ground. Um,
Then at this point,
the rebel fighters appear, if I remember right.
you have Jen down there as well.
Yeah,
That Mr. Sniper notices. Brain isn't thinking.
and he's like, oh shit, and then the rebel fighters appear, and he's like, "Hold your fire!" He's like, "Tell them to hold their fire. There's Jin is down there," and the the general is like, "Holy shit! Get a hold of them now! They're
Like
rebel forces are on the ground," and they're like, "Too late! They're already there." And he's like, "Well, fuck."
And so it's lovely
Scene
fight.
of because the rebel ships drop their bombs and kill her father,
Almost kill her.
almost kill her, and so yeah, they escape. Obviously, so does Krennic, and Jen confronts him on the ship, and he says, basically, he tells her, the only time you started caring about the rebellion was when it involved your father. We've all done terrible things. We just decided to do something about it.
Which he has a point.
He does,
She
honestly.
literally only was involved
Once she learned her father was.
She
Literally.
didn't try to join it at all beforehand. In fact, she didn't want nothing to do with it until she found out she had the chance to confront her father.
Yeah. And then I think it's at this point that Darth Vader is introduced into the movie.
Yep.
Still voiced by James Earl Jones.
Amazing as always.
Amazing as always. He is actually on Mustafar. Yes, he went back to that place. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. And so Krennic talks to him, and he says, basically Vader tells him to show that there is no flaws in the Death Star, and he's like, so I'm still in command? Vader force chokes him and says,
Don't choke on your ambitions there. Or something like
that, more or less that's what he says.
Which means, like, okay, Vader's a pun master for one movie.
It's like, when the hell did he become a pun master? The fuck?
I wish he was that a little bit more, honestly.
Honestly.
It would have. That's the thing, though. I understand why they didn't do it in the other movies, because they needed him to be super serious. They needed him to be a very dark and just plain bad character.
Yeah, in this movie, he's not the major threat. Sorry.
No, he's not the major threat. He has a presence there, but he's not, like, you only see him for maybe 3 scenes at most.
At most. Unlike most villains that are only there for like 3 scenes, He makes those scenes count.
But here's the thing, it brings a different personality to him. It brings a weird lightheartedness to him.
Yeah.
That
It kind of, sorry, go ahead.
is kind of one of those, it's just kind of, it's welcome, but it's also slightly jarring. Because it is not the Vader
That
that
we're
we
used to.
knew from the older trilogy.
It kind of bridges the gap between episode 3 Anakin and episode 4
Vader.
Vader. Because he was kind of like that in Revenge of the Sith, the whole pun master, kind of snarky, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
then he became Vader and he just became this dark, brooding badass over the course of one movie. And it's like, what the fuck happened? So here we get to kind of see the bridge between those two. You were saying.
And so, like Elliot said, it was a bridge between those two characters because otherwise they were almost completely different characters because of you didn't see any of the humor in the older Vader.
Yeah, it's the Vader was just the humor was just kind of gone. So they get back to Yavin and they tell them what they learned, and the rebel leaders are just kind of like, "Are you fucking crazy? We can't afford to send our forces there. There, we're. What if this is a trap? What if What if the Emperor is just leading us there? No, we're not going to do this." So they're just kind of defeated and walk off. And uh,
You know, it's like if the Empire has this kind of power, what can we do?
yeah, and to which Jin's response was perfect.
Which is in the trailer, so I wouldn't think that'd be spoilers, but we're still in spoiler territory
Yeah,
anyways.
she says, and this is a direct quote: "What choice do we have? Or no, what chance do we have? The question is, what choice? Run, hide, plead for mercy, scatter your forces. You give way to an enemy this evil with this much power, you condemn the galaxy to an eternity of submission. The time to fight is now."
Which is kind of a callback to earlier in the movie.
Because Cassian told her rebellions are built on hope. That's where she got the line. And so,
The
Chirrut, Baze, and Bodhi are like, well, she wants to fight, and they're like, well, we all do, but I don't think four of us is going to be able to do anything. So Baze, looking up, seeing something the rest of two of the rest of them don't see, and one of them can't see, and he's like, well, how many do we need then? They turn around, and Cassian is standing there with like 6 or 7 more guys, and he's like, well, we want to help. And so they're like, okay,
and
let's
so
do
they
this.
all go off without the rest of the rebellion's approval
Or support. And
and
go ahead.
try to go and get these plans. They do find out later, not much later, but they do find out later that they did go to do this.
And they send some help.
Actually, no, that he was already on his way.
Oh, yeah, one of them was already on
Yeah,
his
the
way.
guy that really, really wanted to fight was had just already left.
That's right, the general guy, because he did want to fight.
Yeah,
He was with them, and
yeah,
but then he's like, well, and they're like, well, send for what's, and they're like, he's already gone.
yeah,
Like, he's already on his way there.
yep.
He said, fuck you guys.
They do manage to get into
You're
because
getting
the
it.
entire planet.
You're getting ahead of yourself. Hang on. And
What do you
as
mean?
as they're leaving, the rebels ask for a call sign, and that's where they get the name Rogue One.
No.
Bodhi looks right at
Oh, that's
Jin
right.
and well, he's looking right at Jin as he says it, but Jin is also talking. But it's also he's looking right at her as he says it, so he kind of gets the idea from her, Rogue One.
because he had to get clearance to actually, take off.
And the rebels are like, well, there is no Rogue One. He goes, well, there is now. Time to leave. But
Because they literally had to go and take the stolen
Imperial
Imperial
shuttle,
shuttle that they had escaped on from the previous planet.
which I don't remember the name of, and it's gonna bug me. If you know the name of the planet that they found Jin's father on, let me know in the comments. I cannot remember it for the life of me,
Are
and
you
it is
sure it
gonna
wasn't
bug
from
me.
the one before that?
No, it wasn't.
Vegeta?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. And so they end up using that as their way because the entire planet
It's covered in a shield.
is covered in a shield, and you have to actually get the gate to open in order to go through. They use the fact that it's a shuttle to get by.
Yes. And so they land on the planet. They send in an inspection squad because it's routine for the Empire, which is it's understandable. The guy in charge of sending this inspection squad in is completely fucking stupid because he fails to notice that somebody that looks completely different from who he sent in comes out of the ship
with a random. Actually, no, they went in with one of the
droids.
droids.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just okay. Here's the interesting thing: is this no, they didn't go in with a droid.
No, they didn't. But
no, they do end up finding a droid.
But droids are commonplace throughout the
throughout this
movie, so in the base, so it's not all that surprising.
In fact, you can definitely tell the difference between him and the other droids because of the fact of the way he walks.
And he has gold around his arms and shit.
I never noticed that, but
it's actually posted on TV Tropes. You guys should go totally check out our TV Tropes page for the Warhawks. It'll be down in a link to which will be down in the description below.
Nice plug.
Nice shameless plug.
So then they end up sneaking into the base itself
and planting grenades in strategic places all around the base.
Where everyone else is while they're going through the building.
To create a distraction. Jin, Cassian, and K2 are the ones that go to the elevator to get to where they need to go.
Of which he literally has to hack into another droid to get a map.
Yep. And so
AKA like R2D2 style with his lovely middle finger that probes. And
yes. And the explosives start going off, and Krennic is just like, "Why are we all just standing here? Send the friggin' troops." Which would totally be me. I'd be like, "Are we blind? Do we not see that? What are you guys just standing there for?"
And so while they're all being distracted, they're going through trying to find the records.
The records, which they find, and K2 stays behind to distract the stormtroopers while they try to find the plans. Unfortunately, K2 gets overwhelmed
and gets shot, but he locks the door. He seals
the door permanently behind them so that they cannot follow them up.
And they have to physically climb up to actually grab the file.
The file, which they find by way of Galen's nickname for Jin, which is Stardust.
Yep, project name Stardust.
And that's how she knows which one she's looking for, because it was her father's nickname for her.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a K.
Yep, K's just on my shoulder.
Yes. And so they climb up. Krennic shows up, starts shooting. He gets shot by Cassian, shoots Cassian. Cassian falls. We all think Cassian's dead. Jin climbs all the way to the top, and Bodhi manages to get through to the rebellion and say, "Hey, you guys need to knock out the shield, or she can't transmit the plans."
The other general showed up, and it started fighting all the forces on the outside of the shield.
Yeah.
And now he just got a message to, hey, do something to disable those shields, like to take out those shields.
At which point they instruct a Hammerhead class Corvette, which, if you have played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, you know what that is. It's the main cruiser ship. They were cruisers in Knights of the Old Republic. They're Corvettes now, and literally rams a Star Destroyer into another one and then crashes, and they disable the ship shields
Of which then they're able to send the signal out
to the
to
rebels.
the nearest ship, actually.
Yeah. And so Krennic shows up and she's like, "You've already lost. It doesn't matter what happens to me." Krennic gets ready to shoot her, and surprise, surprise, Cassian isn't dead. During all of this, Bodhi, I mean, not Bodhi, well, yeah, Bodhi dies in an explosion because a grenade is hurled immediately after he gets through the rebels, actually. Immediately after he dies because a grenade was thrown.
Into the ship, into the ship, so as a confined space, you can get out.
Yeah. Uh, Chirrut dies first because he is the one that flips the switch that allows Bodhi to get through to the rebels. And then he's shot as soon as he's finished with that. Then Baze dies getting revenge for Chirrut, taking down several stormtroopers with him, but one of them drops a grenade and he's blown up as well.
Again, grenades.
Yes, grenades for days. Just for days. Um, and then Jen and Cassian are running, along the beach, thinking, "Okay, we're good, we can go now." And then the Death Star shows up, and Grand Moff Tarkin, who is not played by Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing died in 1994, but he has CGI made put on his. The guy playing him has CGI made on his face to where he looks exactly like Peter Cushing and does a damn good impression of him, if I may say so. And Tarkin orders that the Death Star fire on the planet, which it does at low power, so it doesn't destroy the planet itself.
It does destroy the base with everyone in it.
With And we're not even kidding, everyone. We were not kidding when we said everyone introduced in this movie that was not in the original trilogy dies.
And then we go and
Hold
see.
on, hold on. And in a touching moment, uh, Jen and Cassian actually die in each other's arms as the blast kind of just obliterates them. It was a sad moment, honestly. And so then we go to the overhead space battle, which is still going on, and Vader arrives, and then learns that the plans are on the Rebel flagship, which causes him to go, "Okay, prepare for boarding." He boards, and you literally have a game of hot potato trying to keep the plans away from Darth Vader. I am not even kidding.
Until it eventually gets handed off.
To the person that boards the Tantive 4. The Tantive 4 takes off right as Darth Vader is at the door. I am not even kidding. And Vader says, or no, Vader doesn't really say anything.
Mm-mm.
They just jump to light speed, and that leads into the opening scene of A New Hope. And so, it's kind of a bittersweet ending because we all know as an audience that the Death Star will be destroyed as a result of this.
We know what's going to happen, but it was a nice it's a nice touch to be able to show how they got those plans.
Yeah.
Why this weakness was built into the Death Star.
And the fact that ultimately Rogue One's sacrifice is what causes the rebels to wake up and realize, "Oh shit, if we don't do something, no one else is going to."
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of the overarching theme here is that, we if we don't have hope, we don't have anything. Okay, so final thoughts.
Like I said, an enjoyable movie. It's not. Let's think. It's not. I don't think really it's a fantastic. It is an amazing movie, but I don't think it's necessarily a fantastic movie. It has its flaws. It's also everyone has very high expectations for it because it is in an established continuity.
Yeah.
It is adding to that continuity, so you know certain things are going to happen. The problem I had was the fact with that was the fact I knew everyone was going to die.
We
That
all
was
kind
a
of knew.
give. That was a given. We knew that everyone was going to die,
We just
and
didn't know when.
unless you are a person that was literally experiencing Star Wars at this moment
For
in
the first
order
time.
and had no idea about any of it. It's like you went and you saw the first three, and then you saw this, and then suddenly have all of them die.
And you're just like, what the fuck just happened?
Why did this happen? You know, and then you go into the next four or
It,
next three. Yeah, next four.
basically, you watch the prequel trilogy, you watch this, then you watch the original trilogy, then you start the sequel trilogy, and you're just like, what the fuck just happened?
You know, it's like again, if you had no idea that was going to happen, it would have been a shock and it would have been heartbreaking. It's still heartbreaking.
It's still heartbreaking. Don't get us wrong. It's
But
still heartbreaking to watch
you
all.
knew.
Yeah, you knew at some point these characters had to die
There's
because they're never mentioned again.
which is a shame because it would have been nice if they had like if way back then they knew they were gonna need something, and so hey, you know, they got these like this unit got these plans, you know.
Which would also it also kind of explains why they had to use Bothans for the second Death Star. It's like, well, okay, what the hell happened to the first group of people that you sent to capture the plans for the first one?
Fair enough. So
Well, and for my final thoughts, all around great movie. It wasn't better than The Force Awakens, but again, that's my personal opinion. That's her personal opinion. Don't let our opinions influence the way you think. That's all I can say because too many people will try to say, "Oh, you're influencing the way your fans think." No, that's not what we do.
we just give an
We
opinion
give our
and
opinion and we let you go watch the movie yourself and try to formulate your own opinion because that's the way it works. We don't want to make you think the way we think just because that's how we think.
that'd be kind of boring.
That would be kind of boring.
But
But anyway, that is going to do it for this review for us. Um, we let's see.
this is a long enough video as it
Yeah,
is.
what is the next major movie that we're probably going to watch?
That's the thing. It's probably going to be the next Marvel.
Either the next Marvel or I think Power Rangers might come out before that.
Probably, actually, now that you're mentioning it. Because I think
Which
that is like next summer.
yeah. Anyway, we're going to try to do more of these. Is my point. We're going to try to watch the movie,
Do a review within a
do a
couple of
review
days.
within a couple of days so that way you guys can see what we think rather than just because I'm sure you guys are curious. Okay, this movie came out, what do the Warhawks think of it? Because
Or at
we
least a couple members of it.
or at least a couple members of it, because you're probably thinking, okay, they've probably seen this, what do they think of it? Also, in the comments, let us know if there are any classic movies you want us to review. Any movies that have come out, like within our lifetime. She was born in 1985. I was born in 1990. If there are any movies that you think that you would like to see us review, by all means, let us know in the comments.
Just be warned, some movies we might be a little biased to because we did grow up with them.
Yeah.
It's like I'll say there are certain movies I absolutely love because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
And some movies I just can't stand to watch. But it also might not be because it's a bad movie.
Exactly. So, with that being said, this is the Iron Man alongside my beautiful wife, Sherania.
Hi.
And this is a kitty. And we love you guys. We will see you guys next time. soon as I get this thing to. All right.
Peace.
And peace.